Hello, everyone. That was great. My name is Alec Faraday. I sometimes go by Lord Bandwagon on YouTube and Google. In other news, my phone is almost dead, so we'll see how long this video can last. But basically this year, I figured for March Madness, I would do some bracketology videos inspired by Super Celtic 24 on YouTube. He recently hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm one of them, and he makes really good bracketology videos every year. He updates them pretty often too, so I recommend you guys check that out for anyone who's watching. Basically what I do for the March Madness is I track stats, and I think stats can be really important. They never tell everything, but they can help guide a lot, especially with like decisions, like how you want to, for coaches, they'll look at them for like game plan, obviously, and like I'll look at them to predict winners of matchups, because as a junior in high school, I've been busy and I don't watch every game, but I can figure if I can look at these stats, I might have a good idea of who's going to win. So I'm going to look at these stats over the course of this video: field goals, field goal attempts, defensive rebounds, steals, turnovers, and points. You obviously want fewer turnovers and more of the rest of these stats. I'll go over later in the video why I think these are important stats to track. Actually, I could just say now, these are all stats that winners since the 2014-15 season, which was the Duke Blue Devils, every winner since then have been in the top 25 for those stats. So I figure, yeah, these are important stats to track. Also, my phone is really almost dead, so I'll try to make this video quick. These are stats that are important to track because these are what the winners have been great at. So, yeah, I think I'll just go right into it. So, the Duke Blue Devils, they had an average height of 6'6", average experience of 1.1 years, so they were really young. They had 1,099 field goals in the year, 2,191 field goals attempted, 991 defensive rebounds, 278 steals, 421 turnovers, and 3,091 points. That was good enough for first, third, fourth, 14th, 227th, first, respectively. I'm probably not going to read that every time for each team because I have low battery and because you guys have eyes. So, yeah, obviously they were a very good offensive team, but clearly with all the defensive rebounds and a decent amount of steals too, they were had a good defense. And despite their lack of experience, what you're really worried about those with like a lack of experience is like, will their nerves get shaken? Are they not going to be like clutch teams? And clearly, with the fact that they were 227th in turnovers, they really didn't have to worry about that much, and apparently not much at all, considering they won the championship. So yeah, I think that's a crucial part with turnovers. Is they show how clutch a team is, how disciplined they are. So yeah, that's just turnovers in general, and I think that's a reason why it doesn't really matter if you're young or you're old. As long as you don't turn over the ball, you're good. And of course, if you meet these stats. Next, we have the Villanova Wildcats. That year I picked UNC. I was very disappointed after the buzzer beater, even though my cousins went to Villanova. Clearly, you can see they were slightly less dominant than Duke in pretty much every category. But they were still very good, top 25 in all these important stats. Slightly shorter, but more experienced, so you could say they perhaps were even more clutch, especially considering that buzzer beater. But yeah, I think that's part of the reason why they did well, was because they had some more experience, and yet they still had the talent to go far. And yeah, they were just they were a great team. I'm gonna finish up with the 2016-17 UNC Tar Heels. I did not pick UNC that year, which I really should have, but I didn't want to repeat. And you can see they were so dominant. They were first in field goals attempted, first in defensive rebounds, first in points. They didn't turn the ball over, and they were good at stealing the ball too. Yeah, I really just should have picked this team because they were so dominant. Even though they didn't have too terribly much experience and they weren't the tallest team, they were just their stats show they knew how to ball and they had good. It's not like they had completely inexperienced players too. I mean, Joel Berry was a junior at that point, so it's not like he was just a rookie or freshman, whatever. So yeah, I think that's the reason I definitely should have picked them. I didn't. In fact, I picked Florida State. And that's part of the reason I want to talk about. Use common sense with this algorithm. That may just be for myself because I don't think anyone else is going to be using it. But as I wrote down here, just to add on as a lesson from last year, use common sense. The formula only goes so far. If you end up picking a really bad team, pick what makes sense with the formula as a guide. Also, if a team loses a crucial game at a bad time, that may not be as important as them showing a general lack of consistent performance. Basically, Florida State, they fit the algorithm pretty well as well. Not as well as like UNC, they weren't as dominant, but I figured UNC wasn't going to win. They couldn't repeat, or I couldn't repeat them as a pick. So basically, I picked Florida State. They were eliminated, I think, in the round of 64 by Xavier, and even I ignored their Jekyll and Hyde performances, and basically it just didn't end well. So what I'm doing is I'm using the algorithm as a guide, and I pretty much say that here. These stats are obviously important, but if like Mercer is number one, say Mercer is number one in all of these stats, that doesn't mean pick Mercer for like the championship because it won't go well. But like to get into why these stats are important, field goals, attempts, points. Points are how you win games. Field goals, attempts, how you score points. Fairly straightforward. You need an offense to score. You need to score to win games. There you go.